And we begin at the bottom of the hour here with our top talker. We talked about this yesterday as well. As the state considers a law limiting cell phone use in schools, many districts have already put policies in place. The question is, do they work?
So this week, we're taking an in-depth look at how the rules in school are likely changing and what kind of impact that could have. Maureen Kyle is here with more.
A study from Common Sense Media found that kids over the age of 13 said they check their phones more than 100 times per day. More than a quarter of that happens during the school day. And while Ohio legislators work to pass a law limiting cell phone use, some schools, like Akron, have already taken matters into their own hands. We checked in with how their extreme policy changed the culture and academics. The hallways of Ellet High in Akron are different this year.
You don't see people like walking and texting and slowing the hallways down and stuff like that.
This is the first school year Akron Public Schools took the extreme measure of having kids lock their cell phones in pouches and tuck them away all day. Starting the new policy was a challenge.
It was an exhausting 2 weeks. It wasn't easy by any means.
But Principal Kim Sabetta says the growing pains are worth it.
You know, when I go into the classrooms to do observations or just to visit, as I'm walking through, you can see more students are engaged in the instruction that's being provided for them. The teachers don't have to worry about the students having their cell phones out, and then they're focused on the work.
So the kids were a lot more eager to kind of be entertained and like, here's the only option you have is this social studies lesson, math lesson, etc. So they were a little bit more quick to engage and participate in what we were trying to do.
Something else the teachers don't have to worry about, a different policy in every classroom. One of the big reasons why Akron decided to lock up phones across the board is so that the playing field was level for every teacher in every classroom.
When we know we're backed by administration and this is just how it is, if they have it out, admin's gonna come in and take care of it. It allows us to concentrate on what we're actually there to do, is teach.
That's not the case for every school district. For example, Beechwood City Schools decided to let every high school teacher decide their own policy in each classroom, but cell phone use is prohibited. Just this February, Mentor City Schools also banned cell phone use during instructional time, but not in between classes. Parma also banned cell phone use during instructional time at their high school. And more districts are creating plans to put in place by this coming fall.
I'm not naive. Students know how to get into the cell phone bags to an extent. I know that does take place, or maybe if they've broken their bag, something like that. But we're really trying to handle that right away. And at the end of the day, if they're keeping the cell phones away, then I feel like we've accomplished quite a bit.
Final grades aren't in yet, but Sabetta expects to see an improvement year over year, and she's not the only one.
I feel that I'm more focused in school and getting my grades and stuff up, and I'm not on my phone or any technology as much as I would be last year.
Academics weren't the main reason Akron decided on a full cell phone ban during the school hours. It was actually a safety issue.
One of the things that was disturbing was arranging fights, recording fights, posting fights. It was, it almost became like a TikTok challenge kind of thing. And we were worried about the safety of our students. And it goes out to social media, so we just didn't see anything positive coming out of that.
Akron Safety Director Don Zessinger says this year they saw an overall drop in physical conflicts in the first half of the year, by 136 in the first quarter and 183 in the second quarter. Fights were slightly up in the third quarter by 39, but so far in the fourth quarter, physical fights dropped from 906 last year to 387 with just weeks left to go before summer break. Safety seems to be the main concern for most parents, whether it's a matter of getting in touch with their kid in the horrible case of a tragedy, or if they think their child needs it for health reasons. Tomorrow at 5, we talk to safety experts who say cell phones are actually counterproductive in an emergency and address some of the questions parents are raising in most districts.
Is anybody else baffled by those fight numbers?
I think the thing that Maureen was drawing our attention to was the decrease. The thing that jumped out at me was just the sheer number.
Right, of how many fights there were.
I mean, that's stunning. I had no idea there were that many fights in a school district.
I went to Bellevue. I don't ever remember seeing a fight in school.
And I went to Perkins, nearby Sandusky, and same thing. I think I can count on one hand the number of fights I watched in the 4 years that I was in high school. But you know, times are different, obviously.
yeah.
I was reading an article a few weeks ago where they had spoken to students anonymously, and some had actually admitted to pre-planning fights and having their friends videotape them, specifically with the chance of the video then going viral.
Does that surprise anybody?
It's
Which is really
disappointing.
sad. It's so, you're right. It is so
well,
sad.
I think this is a great series by Maureen, and I can't wait to
Yeah.
see how it finishes up. I do think that they finally got a way to get a handle on this problem, and hopefully we can improve test scores and everything else moving forward.
Yeah, well, yeah.